Daith Piercing Jewelry, pros, cons, advantages, disadvantages. Gonna go through the three major types, rings, clickers, and curved barbells on Pros and Cons by a Piercer, episode number 56. So stick around. For those that are new to the channel, my name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I own and operate the Axiom Body Piercing Studio located here in Des Moines, Iowa, inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo. So when I talk to you about this, I'm talking to a level of expertise as someone who has pierced quite a few Daiths and helped people through the process of deciding what jewelry is going to work best for us, for them. So let's move on to our cage match. 3 will enter. Only 1 will come out. Well, kind of. So first off, we've got rings. When I talk about rings, I'm talking about cat bead rings, seamless rings, beaded rings, and every form of ring you can in every shape, including those heart things that everybody liked about 6-7 years ago. When I'm talking about clickers, I'm talking about the septum style clickers that have a horseshoe or rounded end with a thing that pivots out and locks into place. When I'm talking about curved barbells, I'm talking about those curved barbells with the 2 balls on both ends. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the piercing itself. It is a Daith piercing. It's located in the area of the ear just above the ear canal through that ridge of tissue. It's a fairly old, noticeable piercing, and it has gained kind of a reputation, earned or not earned, and I'm not going to get into that today, of helping with migraines. With that out of the way, let's move on to the main event. I'm going to give you 5 points where basically I think should determine your decision on whether or not to have this particular style of jewelry. One thing I need to consolate and continue to state from the very beginning, I do not suggest piercing a Daith with a clicker. There's a lot of different reasons for that, including the fact there's not a lot of room for swelling, the issue with the hinge area, and the fact that a lot of them have a lot of open spaces throughout them. They can collect and harbor a lot of bacteria, contaminants, and other things. Really, it is something you need to wear after it heals. Explain, let's go through the 10 points, or the 10 rounds. First off is look, then comes security, profile, swelling, movement, ease of use, variety, cost, contact, and finally, rejection and migration. So let's start out with round number 1, the look. I personally like the look of each one of these. I don't really have a super favorite. I do think the ring, because it's a circular, it fits more into that style of the ear. So it's kind of a tie, I think, between the look of the ring, which kind of adds that circle inside of a circle, and the clicker, which is usually shaped the same way. But this one, I'm going to give it to the ring. I don't like overly gaudy and really wild, crazy designs. I think they tend to be pragmatic. And I think the ring looks more elegant and kind of fits more into that simplicity of the structure. So round number 1 goes to rings, 1 point. That moves us on to round number 2, and that is security. Security is a factor of whether or not that jewelry is going to stay in the piercing easily, or whether or not it's going to easily fall out, or etc. With this one, rings, once they're in there, they pretty much stay there. They are designed to be worn in the body for a long period of time. There's not easily removable parts. They usually cause, unless you have attach something to it and pull it out, usually they're going to stay there. Clickers, they have that hinge thing, and there's a large variety of quality from one manufacturer to another manufacturer. They can sometimes just kind of pop open on their own and slip out of the piercing. With curved barbells, the main problem you have is the ends. They do come unscrewed. Sometimes just rubbing against clothing and bedding, they can come unscrewed and fall out at the worst possible time and get lost forever. And I believe they go to the same place that all your socks do. You know, the lefts. So, the round goes to rings, bringing their score up to 2. Clicker and curved barbell, a 0. Going into round number 3. Profile. Profile is how much room it takes up or space it takes up inside the piercing area and that around it. Obviously, rings and clickers are going to take up a great deal more room. They're going to be more likely to get bumped or knocked around than a curved barbell. Curved barbells, however, do need to be, especially if you're piercing with it initially, longer than the amount of tissue that you're going through. The other problem with curved barbells is it's very difficult to get down in there and close them, even the threadless ones, when they're super tight to the piercing, so they tend to be a little bit on the oversize. Though they have a lot less profile, they're less likely to get contact. So, round number 3 goes to curved barbells, bringing the score to rings 2, clickers 0, curved barbells 1. Round number 4, swelling. Every piercing, especially during the healing process, is going to swell. After the piercing is healed, certain amounts of trauma, maybe sleeping on it wrong, maybe on a rough night, maybe you're doing a lot of motorcycling and you're putting on that there helmet and taking it off. Trauma to the area, even of a healed piercing, can sometimes cause a little bit of swelling, especially with cartilage piercings. So it is something you want to consider even after the piercing is healed. You want it a little bit on the big side. Clickers do not give you a lot of excess room for anything beyond that straight piece. You are stuck at that size. It will get to that point, and then you're going to start having issues. Curved barbells, you are limited to the length of that curved barbell. If it exceeds that, you're out of luck. With rings, however, there's a little bit more leeway if it starts expanding beyond that initial part that's in the piercing. It gets a little bit more forgiving. So on this one, I'm giving it to rings, bringing the score to rings 3, clicker 0, curved barbells 1. As we move into round number 5, movement. Now, when we're talking about movement, we're talking about how much that jewelry is likely to move and shift inside the piercing or through the piercing during the healing process and afterwards. Now, I'm not saying direct contact and movement. Of course, if you grab any piece of jewelry and play with it enough, it's going to move, which is something you shouldn't do while it's healing. What I'm talking about is just general gravity affecting it and etc. With rings, you have kind of 2 axes. You have the straight through this way, through the piercing, and you also have that swinging effect. So you can see a lot more movement with jewelry like rings and clickers. With curved barbells, there might be a tad bit of flip-flopping, but that's pretty rare. It's generally just sliding back and forth through the piercing, giving it just only one axis of movement. This one I'm giving to curved barbells, bringing the score to rings 3, clickers 0, and curved barbells coming up, kind of taking some steps towards the front with 2. That brings us on to round number 6, ease of use. The fact of the matter is that with rings, usually it's going to involve a little bit more fiddle-faddle, a little bit more finesse to change the jewelry, especially when it comes to closure rings or Katu bead rings. I personally find seamless and fixed bead or beaded rings really easy to change. Some people just don't have that finger strength to bend it, but you still have to bend it. So sometimes it will require tools to change that jewelry. Clickers, you basically pop that thing out and pop it back in. Slide it through the piercing, pop it back in. Simple, easy, something just about anybody can do. The problem with it is that sometimes it can cause some trauma to the piercing. So you have to be very cautious, and you kind of have to put that pressure against the piercing in some cases to get it to snap shut. So that can be an issue in some cases. Curved barbells, whether it's threaded or non-threaded, you generally they're a pain in the butt. You basically need 8 hands to get those things in there. Once they're in there, they're pretty good, but sometimes just getting those things started can be extremely frustrating. And, if you don't have a pair of hemostats laying around, even the threadless ones can be very difficult, especially on your own. If I was asked I want to buy a piece of jewelry that I can change on myself, I'm going to say clickers because they're easier to change. After 6 rounds, it is rings 3, clicker 1, curved barbell 2. That brings us on to round number 7, variety. This one, to be honest with you, all 3 of these types of jewelry have a large variety of different shapes, styles, ends, things you can attach to it, colors they can come in, materials they can come in. I think this one is pretty much a draw. Maybe there's a little bit of limitation with curved barbells, but really there's a lot of variety out there for all of these. So we're going to call this one a draw, a 3-way tie. So after 7, the score is still rings 3, clicker 1, curved barbell 2, which brings us on to round number 8, cost. Sorry, this one definitely goes to rings. Rings are the most inexpensive type of jewelry that you can buy, even regardless of the material. If you compare it to what it costs to get any curved barbell or any clicker, you're going to find that rings, regardless, are going to be cheaper in that material style. And the reason is they're just cheaper to manufacture. There's not as many moving parts. They don't take as long to manufacture, so they're a little less inexpensive because there's less overhead. So this one definitely goes to rings, bringing the score to rings 4, clicker 1, curved barbell 2. As we go into round number 9, contact. With this, the larger the jewelry, the more contact it's going to get. So there's no way around this. With rings, they take up a larger variety of area. And the same thing with clickers. They're going to have more contact with pillowcases, hats, helmets, everything that comes in contact with your earbuds, headphones, everything. Curved barbells have a lower profile. They don't stick out as much. There's not as much jewelry there to be tangled in with stuff. So with this one, it definitely goes to curved barbells. Bringing the score to, after 9 rounds, rings 4, clicker 1, barbell 3. And now we move on to round number 10, the final one. This one is migration and rejection. For those that don't know what migration and rejection is, that is where your body pushes the jewelry out. It doesn't heal it, pretty much rejects it. With this one, it's kind of one of those things. I've had good experience with all of these types of jewelry except clickers during the healing process. However, because you have less movement, you have a lower profile, less contact, this one I'm going to have to give to curved barbells. So, for the first time in Pros and Cons by a Piercer Battle Royales, or whatever these things are, well, let's just call it that. This cage match comes out with a tie. Yes, that's right, rings 4. Clicker 1, curved barbell 4. Both of them are good choices. Both of them can work well in a healed piercing. Clickers, if you are one of those people that change jewelry a lot, I would suggest, if you think you're going to be changing it a lot on your own, because it's a little bit easier to change. But beyond that, those are the 2 ways I would suggest going, either a ring or a curved barbell, especially for long-term wear. Thank you for watching. If I brought up something or didn't answer a question that you were looking for, or what have you, or brought up something and you're confused or would like to add to the conversation, please leave a comment. I usually answer them when I have time. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. We like it when you like it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, please. And hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we post a video. We tend to post roughly 3 to 4, sometimes 5 videos a week with a focus on education about tattooing and body piercing. If you like merch and you're a stylish individual and would like to get some new swag that has to do with body piercing and tattooing, check out our merch store. Link is in the description. Have lots of different t-shirts, leggings, tote bags, stickers, all kinds of fun stuff. Till next time, here's hoping all your piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see you for your body piercing needs in the future. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day. Go out, enjoy some sunshine if it's in your area, and make a difference in someone else's life. That's all you're here for.